Part of getting diagnosed with ADHD was going through the initial list of symptoms and ticking them off in my mind. One of those symptoms was feeling emotions more intensely, supposedly, than other people. My whole life I've known that my emotions have been big. Even as a child, I'd cry at sad films or feel sad when I saw someone eating alone at a restaurant. I've always struggled with my difficult emotions. Sadness, anxiety, overwhelm. I know that this is who I am. And yet after my diagnosis, when it came to accepting this part of me, I simply didn't want to accept it. Yes, my emotions are intense, but who was I to ever say they were more intense than other people's? I told myself that I could handle my emotions just as well as the next person, when firstly, I'd suffered with depression for much of my life, and secondly, I'd become the ultimate people pleaser, and thirdly, I'd learned to mask to the best of my ability. My emotions were intense, but that didn't make me any different from anyone else, right? The irony of this way of thinking was that I was actually fighting who I was, who I am. I spent so much energy convincing myself that I was no different from anyone else, and everyone else had it all figured out and could cope, so I should be able to too. But I didn't, and I couldn't, and I fell apart. My emotions are big, my emotions are deep, and that is who I am. I have finally reached a place where I no longer fight who I am, where I no longer fight my emotions. Now, don't get me wrong, allowing my feelings isn't easy, and for a long time I hated that on a random Thursday afternoon I'd have to sit in my car and cry in between appointments, simply to allow myself to feel sadness. However, no longer fighting, but allowing what I was feeling and accepting what I was feeling, I gradually began to love who I am. I realised that I wasn't bad or defected, that I wasn't too much or too little. I'll now talk to my husband about our children and allow myself to cry, instead of doing my best to stop it. I'll say, give me a second, let the tears come, and then I no longer need to cry. When the sadness comes on a random Thursday afternoon, I can tell myself that I'm safe to feel it, and it only seems to stay for a short while. When my anger comes after a driver has cut me up, instead of staying with it for hours, I allow myself to shout and scream, and then it dissipates. Allowing these emotional states within myself has given me permission to be authentically me and to learn to love me all the more, realizing that I'm not too much or not enough or simply me. Trust in yourself and allow yourself to just be you, because you're enough.